got to take that.
I want to talk about this movie because there's another controversy besides, of course, Deflategate, which is American Sniper. It made $105 million over the box office. This is unheard of in January. That's what superheroes usually make, superhero movies make. I'm not surprised. Clint Eastwood's a great filmmaker. But somehow the Twitter war broke out, and now we have to take sides, whether the American Sniper is a real hero or not. Now, I said last week we had Catherine Bigelow on, who had made Hurt Locker. And I said it kind of goes over a lot of the same territory. Hurt Locker made $17 million because it was a little ambiguous and thoughtful. And this one is just American hero. He's a psychopath patriot, and we love him. You know, I read some of the quotes from the real Chris Kyle. He said, "I hate the damn savages," talking about the Iraqis, "and I've been fighting and I always will. I love killing bad guys. Even with the pain, I loved what I was doing. Maybe war isn't really fun, but I certainly was enjoying it." I don't know. Eisenhower once said, "I hate war as only a soldier who has lived it can." I just don't see this guy in the same league as Eisenhower. I'm sorry. And if you're a Christian, I know this is a Christian country, I hate the damn savages, and I don't give a fuck what happens. That doesn't seem like a Christian thing to say.
You know, it's a very interesting point. There's a lot of anger in this country, and the people who go see this movie are people who are very angry. And this guy basically says, "I'm going to fight on your side," and they bite for it. I think there's some. I bet you if you looked at a cross section of the Tea Party and people who go to see this movie, there's a lot of intersection.
But I also think there's always been sort of a search for the totemic war hero. We saw that with Pat Tillman in a certain respect. We saw that with Jessica Lynch. We saw that in some ways with David Petraeus as well. And when you look beneath the surface of some of those narratives, it's obviously more complicated than that. I think part of it also is that in this, you were talking before, he saw the movie The Interview, and there was, at some point, Americans wanted to do some sort of patriotic act, right? And I think in some ways, people who went to go see this movie, it was sort of a patriotic act, and that people wanted to feel good about this war. If you look at the polls, most Americans think this war wasn't worth fighting. It's something like 70%. And this movie comes at a time.
And that's the thing. We're in a country.
Did you watch the movie?
Yes, I did.
So I went to go see it last night because I'd heard about it. I wanted to try to know what I was talking about. I can't believe you came away with that impression of the film. What I saw was a movie that treats what veterans and soldiers go through in a way that was subtle. It was not just about war, it was about PTSD, it was about what the wives of soldiers go through. And by the way, the savages he's talking about, okay, aren't ordinary Iraqis. The savages are Al-Qaeda killers who put drills into children to enforce
Okay, you know what?
orders.
When he was sitting up there and looking 200 yards away, he didn't know that's who he was shooting. In the first scene, he's about to shoot a kid.
Yeah, but I would also say you can't sum up a man by one quote taken out of context. You don't know how he said that. And I think if you're fighting a war, I bet you say a lot of fucked up shit in the middle of it.
Well, that was after the war when he wrote a book.
All right, but you've been through a war.
I'm just saying, you know, the idea that Americans cannot see any ambiguity, that somebody has to either be pure hero or pure traitor, is ridiculous.